Season 4 of My Hero Academia has really expanded the range of characters and developed ones such as Mirio Togata to a great degree, to the extent where some people are questioning, is Mirio worthy of One for All? And should Deku pass One for All onto him? What's going on, people of the internet? That's our topic for today. Leave your opinion on who's worthy for One for All in the comments section, and if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on post notifications. So the way I see it, there are 4 requirements for being a candidate for One for All. You need the physicality, persona, the emotion, and effectively some circumstances as well that are occurring when you're going to become One for All. So let's put Mirio in those situations and see how he stacks up. Starting off with the obvious physicality, Mirio is in the top 3 of UA. He's 2 years older than Deku, 15 centimeters taller, and his raw body strength and ability ignoring quirks is significantly higher than Deku's. All of this gives him a greater capability of handling the One for All quirk, and he probably won't suffer the major physical consequences that Deku does when he uses it beyond 20% currently. As we saw in the earlier seasons, Deku was severely damaged by using One for All, because his body just isn't built for the quirk. Whereas Mirio's is naturally, physically much stronger and more stable. In addition, there's the obvious fact that Mirio was actually born with a quirk, so he can actually contribute a new skill to One for All, whereas Deku is just claiming and manifesting All Might's quirk, which was passed down to him in different ways. This would make the One for All quirk much stronger overall. And if you consider the enhancing capabilities of One for All, it would really extend Mirio's quirk that he naturally possesses to a much greater degree. Not to mention that Mirio's permeation quirk would add a really good range of diversity to One for All, which is currently just a quirk about smashing and moving really quickly, if you simplify it to the most basic degree and don't consider all of the previous predecessors. So next is probably the most important one currently. It's the circumstances in which you gain One for All. Now, as we've seen, All Might is effectively retired because he's pretty messed up, and there's a huge power vacuum at the top of the food chain in terms of heroes. Now, we know that Endeavor can't step up to be the #1 hero because he's not very inspiring. Whilst he might possess the physical strength and power, he doesn't really inspire hope and give that sense of safety that All Might presents. Now, I think Mirio in this circumstance is great. That is because the need for a #1 hero who inspires hope into the future and beings of people is needed today and not tomorrow. Mirio is really nearing the end of his training. He's much older than Deku, and he's much more advanced in terms of combat and decision making and tactical skills, which means that if you were to put One for All into him now, he would be much more effective at tackling villains in the future and presently than Midoriya is. In this situation, Mirio is a sure bet. His ability is already proven, and he has a lot of experience working alongside pro heroes, whereas Deku is really just up and coming, and there's a lot of unpredictability in the future of his development. If you're talking realistically, of course. It's an anime, so he'll do amazing, but that's not the point. The next area is the persona. As I've said already, the idea of the top #1 hero is to inspire hope, bravery, and make people feel safe as they go about their day-to-day lives. And I think Mirio achieves this to an excellent degree because he's incredibly positive, outgoing, extroverted, and he's always smiling, which is kind of All Might's big thing, gimmick. And he's really funny too. Now, Deku is kind of positive in a sense, but he's not really outgoing or extroverted. He's kind of nervous and timid and almost a little bit introverted. And he's really emotional in a sort of neurotic sense that he gets kind of upset and aggressive, and he can't always maintain his composure. Not to mention, he finds it really hard to smile all the time as he loses his composure and gets really upset. This idea of the symbol of peace that All Might represents, I think is passed down much better to Mirio than it is to Deku, which is why I think under the persona bracket, Mirio is a much greater fit. Now, the last section, emotion is somewhat related to their persona. This is about their drive and their ability to push forward. I don't mean physical ability, but the mental and psychological fortitude that it takes to put yourself in life or death situations. Now, we've seen this with Mirio during Season 4, that he has this raw determination that he will not stop until he has done what he has set out to do, which in this case is save a young girl from a psychotic murderer. When Mirio fights Overhaul, he loses his quirk, but that doesn't stop him. He keeps going forward and forward and forward. He gets shots to the body, the legs, the arms, and he is absolutely obliterated, and yet he keeps going because he knows what he has to do and what he stands for. His determination to save Eri is at least equivalent to what we've seen through Deku from Seasons 1, 2, and 3. Now, on this dimension, I'm not willing to say that Mirio is a better candidate than Deku. However, it's at least of equivalent value, which when you consider the other factors, leads me to a conclusion which might upset some of the hardcore Deku fans, considering he is the main protagonist, which is, I 100% believe Mirio Togata is absolutely, positively worthy of the one-for-all quirk. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think Deku is. It just means that I think there's more than one person who could. Maybe there's another character in the show who could. But so far, Mirio and Deku look like the best candidates. And if we were to put someone with the one-for-all quirk today and place them in that symbol of peace setting, I think we'd find that Mirio would really achieve today. Whereas we'd see Midoriya struggle for a long time until he became comfortable with the role. So that's it for this video, guys. I find Mirio to be a really interesting character, and in the short glimpse that we've had of him in the last few episodes, I actually think he's probably a more interesting and in-depth character than Deku. That might trigger some of you as well, but oh well. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you think Mirio was worthy of one for all. If not, that's okay too. I've been Archer. If you haven't already, subscribe to Nerdview and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you all again later this week.